We're just a few weeks into 2020 and it's already obvious we've got one heck of a gaming year ahead of us in the world of Xbox. Scanning the lists of future releases can be a bit overwhelming, so we've picked out the 10 games we're most anticipating in 2020.
Every corporal cop in this city's gonna be blasting down these doors after what you and your psycho friend did.
First up, a game we've been eagerly awaiting for around 8 years now, and by this point, it's hard to pick the reason we're most excited for Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe it's Night City, the game's grotty neon 80s meets the future setting, with all its nooks and crannies waiting to be explored. CD Projekt Red has an incredible track record for transporting us to other worlds. The Witcher, anyone? And we cannot wait to see Night City. Or maybe the most exciting thing is getting to make our own character. Cyberpunk lets you pick who you're going to play, from how they look to what their backstory is and which skills they have. And that comes with a ton of different playstyles to try out. So maybe you're most excited about being an augmented one-man army, or a non-lethal cyber ninja, or finishing it and then going back and doing the whole thing again as someone entirely different. Oh, or it could be the soundtrack featuring Grimes, Run the Jewels, and A$AP Rocky, or visiting cyberspace, or driving that car, or just simply Keanu Reeves.
Whoa, easy there, big guy. You're not. Status report.
If there's one game that can rival Cyberpunk for sheer can't wait excitement though, it's got to be Halo Infinite. Most of the game is still a closely guarded secret, but here's what we do know. Master Chief is back. Split Screen is back. It's an Xbox exclusive coming to Xbox One and the next generation, and it's launching day one on Xbox Game Pass. And based on the 2 trailers we've seen, it's gorgeous. Halo Infinite is being made in 343 Industries' brand new Slipspace engine, and we've already seen how beautifully it can handle those all-important alien environments, landscapes, and alien beasties, as well as quieter human moments. 343 has described Halo Infinite as a spiritual reboot, a jumping on point for new Halo fans and old veterans alike. And there's already the feeling that it's going back to what made this series so brilliant in the first place. We might not know much yet, but we know this: Halo is back. And hopping over to another release that's also coming to Xbox Game Pass from another of the excellent Xbox game studios, it's Minecraft Dungeons. Mojang is working together with British developer Double 11 on this one to bring a whole new perspective to Minecraft. Literally, instead of first-person digging and chopping, Dungeons is a top-down game of hack and slash that 4 friends can play together on the same console or online. The game comes with endless treasure-filled dungeons for you to explore, smashing up mobs and scooping up loot, and that last bit's important because Minecraft Dungeons doesn't have character classes. Your abilities are all defined by what you equip. Pop on light armor and grab some daggers and you've got yourself a sneaky rogue character. A couple of minutes later, you could decide to tank by slipping into some heavy armor. Plus, all loot can be enchanted to give it unique powers. Think Borderlands guns, but with swords and axes and bows.
They told me they fixed it.
From one family-friendly co-op game to another now, with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. As you might guess from the name, this takes all 9 of the main Star Wars films and gives them the LEGO treatment, including the latest installment, The Rise of Skywalker. Maybe you've played some of the LEGO Star Wars games in the past and know what to expect. A huge cast of familiar faces in minifig form, funny recreations of famous scenes, and lots of bricks to smash. And it looks like Skywalker Saga is going to stick to that template. But this isn't a remake or remaster, it's all brand new, and a huge technical leap forward for the series. Combat's been totally revamped to give it more depth, even down to damage that's based on the body part you hit. And the game has been built in a new engine for LEGO that looks so real, you could almost believe someone's building the whole thing for you live. And most exciting of all, it's bringing that galaxy far, far away a little closer, letting you fly between planets freely and see what they're up to at all points in Star Wars history. Want to see what was going down on Tatooine while Luke was off on Dagobah? go for it. How about a visit to Alderaan during The Last Jedi? Yeah, but we might have some bad news for you there. Next up, one of the biggest shooter series in the world coming to consoles for the very first time, it's CrossfireX. Now, if you've never heard of Crossfire before it's announced at XO19, there's probably a very good reason for that. This multiplayer shooter is huge in Asia with over 650 million players. But CrossfireX is the first time Crossfire is coming to the West. So expect to hear a lot more about it this year. To make that happen, Xbox Game Studios is working together with Smilegate Entertainment, the South Korean developer who made the original game, and Remedy, who you might know for making Control, one of the best games of 2019. The result is an intense objective-based team shooter, with a single-player campaign to ease you into its world, all coming from studios who are absolute experts in their fields. And best of all, the whole thing is going to be free to play, so we'll see you on the battlefield.
The only thing they fear is you.
And speaking of shooters, next up we've got the daddy of them all. Doom basically invented first-person shooters back in the 90s, and ever since then, the Doom games have been about the simple pleasures in life. You know, slaying demons with a chainsaw or blasting them with a BFG, that's a big flipping gun, while pumping a metal soundtrack in the background. Coming out in March, Doom Eternal is no exception. It takes all that beautiful chaos and pushes the dials up to 11. More guns, more demons, and more ways of separating their heads from their bodies. The campaign will take you from Earth to Mars, heaven to hell, and once that's over, you can jump into the brand new multiplayer battle mode, which pits one human slayer against 2 demon players. If you're looking for a slightly calmer experience this March, at least in terms of the visuals and soundtrack, you should check out Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, an action platformer that has to be one of the most beautiful games we've ever played, and the Will of the Wisps is looking even better. With Xbox One X enhancements, you can play it at 60 frames per second in 4K. But it's more than just a pretty face. These are Metroidvania-style games with a huge world to explore and platforming and combat challenges to really test your skills. It's being published by Xbox Game Studios, and you probably know what that means by now. It's coming straight to Xbox Game Pass on day 1. In fact, if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you can preload the game right now, so it'll be ready to go the second it launches on the 11th of March.
London, greatest city in the world. Well, used to be.
There are a lot of great heroes on this list. The Chief, the Doom Marine, Ori, but here's a surprise contender for best playable character of 2020. London. Because that's who you play as in Watch Dogs Legion, the whole of London. You can recruit any character in the game to your cause, whether it's a Shoreditch hipster hacker or a granny with a gun, and they all come with their own history, personality, and set of skills. Let that character die though, and you'll lose them forever. It's a good motivation to really make the most of the game's hacking abilities, to turn robot drones to your side, or even hacking people's eyes to help you sneak past them. There's also going to be a multiplayer mode, but that's still under wraps for now. For all the details as we get them, make sure you're subscribed to the Xbox On channel to see all our gaming updates.
This city is completely cut off, isolated. We need help.
Capcom is doing a great job of resurrecting its classic horror games at the moment. And after the success of last year's Resident Evil 2 remake, we're excited for the next one to shamble on to Xbox this April. If you've never played the original Resident Evil 3, all you really need to know is that it introduces fan favorite Jill Valentine and her nemesis, the unstoppable killing machine known only as, Nemesis. All you need to know about the remake is that it's keeping 3's more action-focused approach to survival horror, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and it's coming with a massive multiplayer mode known as Resident Evil Resistance, where one evil mastermind drops monsters and traps to try and stop a gang of survivors from, well, surviving. We played Resistance at XO19 back when we thought it was going to be a standalone release, and it was one of the highlights of the show. So really, Resident Evil 3 isn't just one great game, it's 2 in 1. Let's close out with one last Xbox exclusive published by Xbox Game Studios, the latest installment of a beloved series that has never come to console before, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Even if you're not really into planes, it's hard to resist the appeal of touring the virtual world that's been built by developer Asobo Studio, who once won a Guinness World Record for the biggest game world. You can fly over a life-size recreation of the entire Earth, based on Bing satellite data, so you can visit everywhere from the Sydney Opera House to the street that you live on. And you can make the game a bit more beginner-friendly by automating the more complicated aspects of, flying a whole plane. But if planes are your thing, oh boy, you're in for a treat. Every plane has an incredibly detailed 4K cockpit for you to jump into, with all the working dials and instruments of the real thing, and simulated weather conditions that will affect the aerodynamics of flying exactly as they would in real life. Flight Simulator is coming to PC first before arriving on Xbox consoles. If you want the chance to play this game as soon as it lands, just make sure you've got an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription.
Summon the beast! Crush them!
Now, of course, there's so many other titles that are coming out this year, like Cozy Death Management Games, Spiritfarer, 4v4 Brawler, Bleeding Edge, Turn-Based Strategy, Gears Tactics, and Double Fine's eagerly anticipated sequel, Psychonauts 2. So make sure to let us know if we've missed any and what you're most looking forward to down in the comments below.
We have a city to burn.
These are just 10 of the amazing games coming to Xbox in 2020. And of course, that's just the ones that we currently know about. With the next generation on the way, expect some massive announcements throughout the year, and we'll be covering them all in our regular video updates. Let us know which games you're most anticipating this year down in the comments below. Hit that like button, and we'll see you next time. Bye.